and welcome to CEO Conversations with me, Dina Hayes-Burke, the Vision Builder. It has been a few weeks since I have been on with you for CEO Conversations, and I felt it necessary to pop on today because one, CEO Conversations is returning this month. I've been working on getting a lineup of experts in different fields to come on and speak to us about different topics. And one of the reasons that I have not been on as frequently as I intended to be on is that I've been doing a lot of training and consultancy work for firms in the region. And that has really kind of taken up a lot of my time, as well as my coaching side of my business has been taking up a lot of my time. That being said, of course, CEO Conversations is very dear to my heart. And even though I was not able to come on at noon today, I thought it was really important for me to come on at this point in time, mainly because I've been seeing some really interesting discussions over the past few weeks about things that businesses ought to do in the Caribbean. What should we do? What are the things that businesses ought to do, investments that businesses ought to make? And as a consultant, as a business coach, as a vision strategist, there is a language in that sometimes troubles me. And I felt, you know what, I have some time today. I just finished a consultation call. Let's talk about it. So, welcome to those of you who are joining on LinkedIn, those of you who are on YouTube. Today, I wanted to have this conversation because there is really a delicate balance between what is said that you ought to do and what you actually can do. And the first thing that I want to address is the fact that businesses do not make decisions. My business does not make a decision. CEOs make decisions. CEOs and leaders of organizations make decisions. And it's very important if you are in a space or in a place where you have an advisory role to the leadership of any company. It's very important for you to understand that firstly. Because while we know that a business acts and operates as a legal entity in and of itself, the decision making powers does not lie in the entity itself, but lies in the heart of the visionary or the leaders. Now, within the Caribbean context, there are several different types of businesses. There are businesses that are entrepreneurial, meaning that they are owned by one individual or maybe a family run business. They're now starting up. Um, you may have a technical board, but the board itself is not involved in making choices and decisions in your business. There is that. Then we have larger, so that's usually micro businesses, right? Then you have the small business, which is a bit bigger, maybe more employees, maybe more management structures, maybe it has a clear chain of command and a clear organizational structure. Then you have the medium sized businesses. So most of the businesses within the Caribbean region lies between the micro, small, and medium sized enterprises. Very few large enterprises. Now, when you think about this structure, there is a business size that decisions can be made very independently, and usually that's in micro size. So when we hear discussions concerning hybrid work, discussions concerning remote work, discussions concerning changing up of your structures within your business, if you are a micro enterprise, it's very easy to make those choices. And when I say very easy, it doesn't mean that it doesn't require technical skill. What I mean is that you have independent control of this thing. Your business is perhaps at this very early stage of its life, and therefore you have greater flexibility. There is a principle that we know from research. It's actually one of the principles that I explored as it related in my master's research, and that's the research that was published in an academic journal. There is a principle called lateral rigidity, which means that if there is a lot of rigidity in your structures, it's very hard to make adjustments. It's very hard to bend that so that you can get a different outcome in your business. And I looked at it from the context of an internationalization or exportation within your business context, right? So when you're a micro business, you have less lateral rigidity. You have less confines that are keeping you restricted. But as you go up in your business size, size being personal size or in your income size, things change for you. And this is where we're having the conversations now of leadership business decisions. We have been hearing a lot of conversations about what businesses should do, what businesses should think about. But having worked with the owners of businesses, having worked in my professional career under directly with a CEO of $1 million company, having consulted for other companies when I migrated into my business, this is what I know. It's always a delicate balance. It is always a delicate balance. And if you are in a space where you are seeking to advise and consult with firms within the Caribbean context, or even internationally, firms and leaders that are making certain decisions as it relates to human resources, as it relates to strategy, as it relates to um, operations, it's very important for you to understand the delicate balance, because not only does the CEO or leader have to think about the future of the company, they also have to think about the transition. They also have to think about the management of the various cash flow elements. They have a number of things to think of. And here's the misconception that we have all had. We have all had the misconception that because it happened in a crisis, that it will happen in a way that is sustainable for the long term. Because firms decided that we had to do certain things because we were in a pandemic does not mean that they had adequately made provisions and preparations to sustain it in the long term. Now, please understand, for those of you who are on, let me know if you agree, if you're following along with me. Please understand that I am not saying that we need to revert to the old ways. And I'm also not saying that I'm in agreement fully with all of those companies that have chosen to fully revert to the old ways. That is not what I'm saying. What I am saying is, if you are in a space where you are to provide advice, you are to provide guidance to those individuals who are making those choices, it is imperative that you understand the different dynamics that goes along with it. This is actually one of the reasons that I think I'm able to do my job as effectively as a consultant. Because not only have I been a CEO with staff, but also I have worked in administration. I have worked directly under CEOs. I have seen the inner workings of how these decisions are made. And I understand that you cannot simply just snap your finger and decide that this is the way it's going to be. So, for anyone who wants to support a leader who is making a choice concerning the future of your business, you have to understand the delicate balance. You have to understand the delicate balance of adjusting structures within an organization and smoothly transitioning from where you are to where you want to be. That ideal reality that includes flexible work, that includes a hybrid environment, that includes greater levels of compassion and transformative leadership. There is a way to migrate to that. Because the truth is, as ideal as we all think it is to just quickly flip a switch and reach into a new destination, as ideal as we think that is, there are inherent issues that can arise from doing it too quickly, from doing it without a measured migration, without a measured strategic approach to doing it. So businesses don't make decisions, CEOs make decisions. And these are the things that I know CEOs have to think about. One, you have to think about reporting to those who are invested in your business. You have to think about reporting on how you are managing resources. I've always said that leadership is a delicate balance. especially within an organizational context. It's a delicate balance between managing resources and leading people. That is a delicate balance. And many persons who are speaking to the space of the decisions that businesses should be making now are speaking from a position of only leading people but not understanding the management of resources. That is the delicate balance of a CEO. And that's why anyone who is coming alongside a management team or a leadership team to guide them must also be cognizant of that delicate balance and cognizant of the internal structures and systems that now need to be shifted, adjusted in a comprehensive way to get the result. So leaders have to think about managing resources. CEOs have to think about that. CEOs also have to think about managing public perception of the organization. And that's why it's so dangerous sometimes when persons in the influencer space recklessly speak about the public face of a company without understanding the internal dynamics of a company. But it's also imperative for CEOs to understand how to manage the public dynamics of their company while they transition the internal dynamics of their company. That's very important. So CEOs make decisions, and they make decisions upon the management of resources. They make decisions based upon the public image of the company. They make decisions about the retaining of the key talents that they need to take their business to the next step. And that's when most of the discussions, particularly as it relates to Caribbean businesses, have been centered around the retention of talent or the loss of talent. Now, when you are making choices, and I will honestly say that within the Caribbean context, this is one of the areas that most CEOs, persons in leadership positions, struggle with. And we have to understand that the struggle has partly to do with the lateral rigidity or the structures within the company and its culture, but it also has to do with the holistic Caribbean culture or context that we have been operating in. We are now in a space where we're dealing with a different generation of talent, a different generation of talent called the millennial and Gen Z generation. And the mindset of the millennial Gen Z generation is significantly different to the generations that came before them. So it means that there is a learning curve for those of you who have been in leadership for a very long time. There is a significant learning curve, and therefore if you are a consultant, if I am consulting with you, I have to help you migrate your mind so that you can actually retain the talent that you need or attract the talent that you need. And as leaders, as CEOs who are making these decisions, sometimes you can get a bit lost with that, especially in this time. But it's not the only consideration that you have. As a CEO, it's not the only consideration that you have. So, just to recap for those of you who are joining in, CEOs make decisions on managing resources, managing their public image, acquiring or retaining the right talent, and then you make a decision. The fourth thing is on your future strategic outlook for your company. Your future strategic outlook for your company. Many of the persons who are speaking to businesses and the decisions that they are making are speaking to one specific point of view, speaking to one specific issue. But in the mind of a leader, in the mind of a CEO, in the mind of decision makers within a company, these are the major things that are always at the forefront of your mind. And it is a delicate juggle between all of it. So, how do we make this delicate juggle? How do we go into this new reality, into this new economic space, into this new employment space, into this new world of business as an older company or a bigger company with so many structures that need to be moved? How do we go into the future differently? What are the decisions that we have to make? And how do we find the delicate balance? That is the reality, and that is the conversation. That is the conversation, and many of you who are CEOs who may be looking on need to start having with your teams. These are the conversations that you now need to embed into your strategic planning for the upcoming year or the upcoming 3 to 5 year period. These are the considerations that you now need to look at. And don't find yourself pressured because there are loud voices in this space and in the environment that tells you you need to do certain things in one area. You now have to think holistically. What is the new vision? Has the vision shifted? Has the vision adjusted? More than likely, the vision remains the same, but the mission is going to have to change because the mission speaks to how. The vision speaks to what. The mission speaks to how, and the strategy tells you how you're going to make it happen. So, those are the areas that you now need to adjust. And I'm speaking to this now because any manager or any CEO who is looking to build the longevity of their business has to think about it in a holistic space, has to think about it from a complete perspective. And then from that complete perspective, now start the process of migrating your business forward with the right resources, with the right framework, with the right business model for the new space and the new business area that we are in. So that is what I wanted to share with you today. And I'm hoping that we can talk more about this as we go along. If this is a conversation that you want us to have more discussions on, please let me know. I am bringing in more and more experts from all across the world from my network to come in and to share their insights and their thoughts. And the goal is never to give you a one size fits all solution, but to give you impetus, to give you perspectives that you can add to your conversations that you may not have been adding before. So I know we have a few persons on LinkedIn. Do you have any questions or any thoughts that you wish to share as I wrap up? CEO conversations, we are CEOs. We don't have 2 hours to be on these lives. But I would love to hear your thoughts. If anything stood out to you today, did you have an aha moment? Or is this something that you know that whether you're a CEO, maybe you're a manager, maybe you and your team are thinking about something? Let me know if this is anything resonated or connected with you. And if there is a specific area that you are thinking about that you would like us to discuss on CEO conversations, please feel free to let me know. You can send me a DM if you would like to send that information privately. I'm just looking at my phone to ensure that I'm not missing any of your comments. But I felt it important to share this because in a world of viral media, many times you can find yourself on the wrong side of that viral conversation. And being on the wrong side of that viral conversation can really lead you to make very reckless choices as a CEO. And that's what we don't want to do. We don't want to make reckless decisions. We don't want to make fad-based choices. We want to make choices for our businesses that can then take us to the future that we're looking for. Because at the end of the day, and I'm putting this out again, exactly what I've put in the description, businesses don't make decisions, CEOs, leaders do. And as a leader, it's important for you to think about how to make those decisions from a holistic space that will take your business to the future that you are looking to take it to. So my name is Dana Hayes-Burke. For those of you who missed at the beginning, I'm a vision strategist, business coach and consultant, and an international speaker. And I am available to serve you if you require my services. Feel free to go to my website, request a consultation call, and we will be getting on the line with you to help you to facilitate some of these strategic discussions that you may need to have in your business. Have a great one, guys. Bye.